Well, hi ladies, Julie here, your makeup artist for mature women. And today I want to talk a little bit about summer makeup and maybe some challenges that we all face with summer makeup. There's a couple things I've experienced. Number one is it's summer, so we don't tend to wear as much makeup in the summer, especially if you're going to be outdoors. And I'm kind of an active in the summer. I like walking and biking and being in my garden and playing pickleball and just, sitting out at wineries and enjoying friends and family. But I don't wear as much makeup, but I always wear makeup. I just do. So anyway, in that, sometimes our makeup, number one, doesn't last as long because it's hot and humid in most places in the country. Number two, when we don't put as much on, then it seems like we kind of, fade away during the day. Number three, our makeup doesn't look the same in the summer as it does in the winter because we are darker. Even if you wear sunscreen on your face, which I hope that you do, our faces tend to get darker. I've just been outdoors a lot, and I've tried a couple different sunscreens. I know I've recommended this one from Neora that's called Invisiblock. Like it, but one of the mature makeup artists that I follow had recommended this product. It's called Elta MD, and it's a broad spectrum. It's a 45 actually. No, it's a 40. And I really have liked it a lot. I was just, with this one, I felt like I was starting to get too much sun damage on my face. I didn't feel like it gave me enough protection. This has been really, really nice. It protects against the UV rays. So anyway, sometimes I even take a little bit of my main highlight and mix it with the sunscreen, and then that way I've got tinted moisturizer, and then I'll just put on the rest of my makeup, so you can do that too. But anyway, so I'm going to talk to you about a few things just to get your makeup to stay and to look good this summer. So first of all, I've been asked, should you use primer when you're wearing Seint makeup? And I had gotten away from primer. I used to wear primer all the time, and I'd gotten away from it. But I noticed in the summer my makeup was kind of melting away. And so this is a nice primer. There's all kinds of primers. This one is one that I've been using. It's by a company called Seint. I happen to be a part of a buying club. It's kind of like being an Amazon Prime member, where you get to order from a company called Melaleuca. And this is really nice. It's clear. Okay, you can't see it. And you put it on all over your face. And then what I do, just so that it kind of sticks, it adheres to my skin, is I then dry my hair typically. My hair's already fixed for the day. So anyway, if your makeup isn't lasting, it's one thing you might consider is wearing a primer. And if you wear some, there's CC creams, there's primers, something that helps it's sort of like when you paint a building and it's fresh wood and you don't put primer on, you know how the paint doesn't last. So that's the purpose of primer. If you're interested in me getting you some of this, let me know. Or search the drugstores and things like that. But this is a great way to make your skincare last, or I mean your makeup last, your foundation last. A second thing that I hear and that I experience myself is that maybe it feels like by the end of the day you get a lot of shine. Or maybe your skin is definitely more oily in the summer. Number one, if you tend to feel oily, only put your makeup where you need it. Because, so I wear a pretty heavy kind of side bang, so I don't put a ton on my forehead. Maybe you wear total bangs. Don't put highlights. Don't put the highlights on your face, on your forehead. That's totally okay. What I've kind of started doing this summer is I'll take and mix a couple of colors because I'm not as dark as the next shade up, but I'm also a little bit too light. So I'll take my brush, or I'll take my finger, and I'll just take a couple of the colors and mix them together. Can you see that? Okay. And let me put I always have to do my dark circles. But I've taught you how to stipple. I've learned also that you can swipe. It's not wrong. So I want to encourage you to experiment with the brushes. And maybe you've ordered a different brush. Maybe you just don't like the brush. Depending on the brush you use, you get heavier or lighter coverage. I do enjoy the 3D brush the most. So you can see that here. Okay. So anyway, let's put just a little bit of contour on. I'm really just having a casual lunch with a friend in a little bit, and then primarily working from home. So I'm just gonna put contour right here on my cheek area, just above my cheek, because I don't want to draw my face down. Okay. So far, so good. All right, let's talk blush, lips and cheeks. If your cheek color is not lasting, there's a couple things you can do. Number one, you are gonna get better staying powder when you use a matte. The glosses, I love the glosses, but as we know, gloss comes off quicker. So you can do two things. Number one, switch to a blush, to a lip. I still call it blush. Ours is called lips and cheeks. Switch to a cheek color that is matte. We've got several I can recommend. If you're more warm, sandstone. If you're more cool, we've got sangria. If you are more fair, we've got dahlia. We've got several I can recommend. Or plum, but switch away from the glosses on your cheeks. The second little trick that I learned, and this is working really well for me, is to take the end of my brush, and I'm gonna use the blush and bronzer brush right now. Take a little of your setting spray, put a little squirt on it, and then take and dab that onto your cheeks, and you'll get a little bit more staying powder, okay? That's another tip. Now, you also may prefer, if you've been using setting spray, you may prefer to use setting powder, especially if you've got more oily skin. And if you don't want that real dewy, if you just have a lot of shine in the summer, then go ahead and use powder. I mean, there's nothing at all wrong with not using setting spray. So this vanilla dusting powder is really, really nice. I'll tell you that. It's really, really nice. It's not going on quite like I want it because I just washed my brushes and my brush is still damp. So anyway, setting powder for the summertime. What's another thing that I hear? I think I mentioned this, that maybe you get too much, maybe you have a lot of shine or breakouts on your forehead. Again, it's summer. So avoid putting a lot of makeup or any makeup on your forehead, especially if it's covered up. That's another tip for you. And let's see. I want to talk again about shading up. Ladies, if you are not liking the way that your makeup is looking, if you're seeing a lot of texture under your eyes or texture on your face, I really should do a video on too light, the right shade, because if you are looking pasty, that means your shade is wrong. And nearly everyone has had to shade up in the summertime. Sometimes you have to shade up a couple times. Sometimes you kind of mix some things together. So don't be afraid of that. Do not be afraid of that. And yeah, those are just a few tips that I hope are helpful to give you staying power with your makeup. Now, even if you're not using Seint as your main foundation, if you're using liquid, maybe you're using matte, maybe that's just your preference, then setting it, using setting spray or using setting powder is really helpful. And you can remember that you can use any of our lips and cheeks or our eyeshadows in combination with the foundation that you're using. In fact, I know several people who they don't care for the cream-based highlights or foundation, but they love the rest of the makeup. So just let your palette be that. I mean, it's totally okay. So anyway, just a few tips in review. Use primer. Make sure you're using sunscreen. Don't be afraid to use powder instead of setting spray. Set your blush, set your cheeks with some powder or with some setting spray. And then don't forget to shade up. Those are my summer tips. I know that summer is going really quickly. Maybe you feel like, why bother now? Well, we've still got, we could still have another 2.5 months of warm weather or hot weather. So reach out, always here to help. Have a great day.